You're listening to the Sisters in Loss podcast, a faith-based grief and loss podcast for Black women, where you will hear stories of miscarriage, infant loss, stillbirth, and infertility to learn there is a testimony in tragedy. You will learn how to heal, gain clarity, find hope and peace, and turn your pain into your purpose after loss. I'm your host, Erica M. McAfee. Welcome to episode 119 of the Sisters in Loss podcast. October is here, and it is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. Join us all month long as we honor and celebrate our babies who have gone to heaven far too soon. Can you imagine having a doula and a midwife, but still experience the horrible tragedy of a stillbirth? Today's guest had that exact experience. She was healthy, she ate right, she worked out consistently, and even worked with a midwife and doula at a birthing center throughout her pregnancy. At 36 weeks after a baby move, life changed for Tierra Hucke. Tierra went to the hospital because she didn't feel the baby move and was told that the baby did not have a heartbeat. In this episode, Tierra shares her journey through grief, getting pregnant 2 months after her loss, and delivery of her rainbow baby 11 months after she lost her son, Jameson. This episode is for you to listen to if you've ever experienced a stillbirth and want to know what pregnancy after a stillbirth journey is like. Here is Tierra. Well, thank you so much, Tierra, for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Awesome. So share with the listeners a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. My name is Tierra Hucke, and I do a little bit of everything. I'm kind of all over the place. By day, what pays my bills, I am a party planner, event coordinator. So that's what puts the jingle in my pockets. But I do like to entertain. I like to cook. I love wine, the art of it, how to make it, what goes into the flavors and all that. So I do cook to go with wine. I like to host dinner parties. That's kind of, the me. I have an 8-month-old son. His name is Maverick. My second baby. And, he is why I am here today to share.
Absolutely. And I love that name, Maverick. I just wanted to add that. I love that name. My son's name is Maxwell, so I just love the Maverick Maxwell.
So
I just love it. It's so cute. So, yes, take us back on your journey to motherhood and share with us your lost story.
Sure. So my husband and I decided we were not going to have kids until we were ready, married. And I always told myself I did not want to have a baby out of wedlock. I don't knock people that do, but I wanted that commitment from my husband. And I wanted him to, come to me with a family plan to say, this is how we're going to be a family, legally, spiritually, whatever. But this is how we're going to be a family. So we waited. We got married in 2014. And then in 2017, I got pregnant. This was in January. I remember thinking to myself, I was out at happy hour and I thought to myself, wow, my period's missing. Okay. And I feel so bad that I was at happy hour and this happened, but things happen. So I got home, and this is like February 24th, I believe. I took a pregnancy test and it was positive. So I called my husband. I was like, oh, we're pregnant. And he was happy. I was happy. We were happy. I immediately went to the birth center. Now, because I'm very much a planner, I'd already been to the birth center before I was pregnant because I wanted to know what they were all about. And okay, well, what kind of experience am I going to have here? Should I go ahead and get pregnant? How is this going to work? So, I told him, I said, I'll call you when I'm pregnant, and got pregnant, called them, met with them, learned more about the midwifery model of care. And everything was fine. I had a very unremarkable pregnancy, for lack of a better term. Everything was just great. It was easy. It was, I was doing my exercises. They encourage you to do different exercises and things to make labor easier. I was taking Bradley classes. I learned about the Bradley method from, something I saw on TV. So I was like, oh, okay, pain management, definitely going to do that. So all these things, I was preparing to be a good mom and preparing to, do the thing that my body was supposed to be doing so naturally. And then we went on our little baby moon. I was about 35 weeks. We went down to Williamsburg, Virginia, because my husband graduated from William and Mary. So, he likes to take me down there and kind of show me different things and all that. So it's cute. So he got this, beautiful bed and breakfast. It was wonderful. And it was weird. I said, I haven't felt the baby kick. He said, oh, let's go get you something cold to drink. Okay, cool. Still nothing. So, we're 3 hours away from where we live. So we get back on the road and we go. But we're still not really worried. I'm like, well, maybe he's just sleeping. Because that Wednesday before, this is like a Sunday, that Wednesday before, my midwife had told me, because I asked her, I said, well, I don't feel the baby move around as much. And I read this story on this blog called Scary Mommy. She's like, don't read stories like that. And I was like, well, I think it was more of something I should ask about. It's not so much a horror story like the blog, being whatever named it is. But, I said, I don't think it's so much a horror story. I think, the lady was just saying kick counts and check baby's movement. So I asked and she said, well, don't worry about that. The baby's going to move less because he's running out of room. And I left and I didn't think anything of it, which is probably why I did not rush back when I first felt there was an issue that weekend, waited till Sunday. And I felt this heaviness. Super duper heaviness. Nothing was painful. It's just very heavy. And I went to the hospital or I went to the birth center that night and I said, do you see a heartbeat? Do you detect one? And she said, oh, no, I don't detect a heartbeat. She said, but then again, you never know. He could be, turn around. Okay, cool. So then we go to the hospital and that's when they told me, hooked me up to the ultrasound machine. And they said, I'm sorry, there is no heartbeat. And then I just saw the baby. And I didn't see his heartbeat where it was supposed to be. And that was it. They said, all right, let's get you in for a C-section. I said, I don't want to do a C-section. I said, I prepared for natural birth and that's what I'm going to do. So I actually was able to have a natural birth and everything was great. It's just the ending that kind of sucked because I didn't get to take home my baby. But I'm very proud of myself how I handled that birth. I did it. So, and here I am.
Thank you for sharing that. So were you able to have your natural birth? You had it in the hospital or were you able to have it in your birthing center?
The birthing center did not want that as a liability. Just they didn't want anything to happen to my baby. His name is Jameson. So they don't want anything to happen to Jameson. So, they didn't have the facilities to put him, after he had been born. So I did have the birth in a hospital, which is something I never wanted. I noticed the hospital care is very, very different from midwifery care. Like the hospital first told me, they said, well, you can go ahead and have a C-section. You don't get any brownie points for doing this natural. Yeah, I'm not really looking for brownie points. That's cool. It's a little bit different of an environment, how they speak to you, how they deal with you. I'm sure their hearts are in the right places, but they don't really have that, warm fuzzy. So, but I did go back to the birth center for my second baby, for Maverick, and still didn't get to have him there. So, but yeah.
So share with us how you began to heal. So you had Jameson, you were able to spend some time with him.
Yeah.
Were you able to have a memorial service or a funeral for him? And then just take us through the next week, the next month, and year after you lost him. Take us through that grief journey.
Sure. So, we didn't know what to do. I remember just being numb. Like you could have kicked me and I wouldn't have felt it. I was just numb. Didn't know what to do. Didn't know what was happening. My husband was, trying to make all the calls and I felt horrible for him because he's grieving too. So, in I guess that next week, so this was October 5th that we had him on a very, very early morning at 2:31, October 5th, 2017. He was born. We spent some time with him. I read to him. I, did everything as if he was still with us. I held him. I read to him, dressed him. We took pictures and those pictures will mean everything to me because it's all I have. And we didn't do a memorial because I didn't know how to get through that. So what we did, he was cremated. My family, really believes in cremation. And it's something meaningful to me. My husband and I, we both grew up like kind of in the DC area. So one place that we both really loved and one place we always wanted to take Jameson was the National Zoo. And I have this running joke with my friends that the pandas at the National Zoo don't exist because I'd never seen them. Look, like 20 some odd years ago into the zoo, I'd never seen the pandas, was sure they didn't exist. So we were going to sprinkle Jameson at the National Zoo. And I said, you know what? If there truly is a God, those pandas will be there when we go to sprinkle Jameson. And the pandas weren't there. They were there. They were out. It was two of them. They were playing. They were very active. And I had never seen them there. So I quite illegally, I just want everybody to know this was not legal. I sprinkled his ashes near the panda enclosure because that's where all the little kids gather to look at the pandas. So Jameson is always going to be surrounded by a bunch of kids. He will never be lonely. The pandas are extremely popular. So I have what I call the Jameson tree. It's a V-shaped tree. And I know standing right there, he's there. So my family, I didn't really let them in to grieve with me necessarily. My mom is down in South Carolina and I never talked to my dad about it. I don't really talk to him. He knows about it. He didn't call me. He told a cousin of mine to have me call him. And I'm like, that's not how this works. But it meant a lot to me to know that Jameson was going to be in a wonderful place. So that was some of his ashes. I have a necklace with some of his ashes in it too. And my husband has a very tiny urn sitting on his desk with the rest of the ashes. I have given to charities in his name. My friends have given to charities in Jameson's name. Of course, charities regarding stillbirth, people gave to the zoo in Jamison's name because, that's a place that means so much to us. People give to March of Dimes, just American Cancer Society, which I wasn't really sure about that one, but I'm like, you know what? If it's helping somebody, it's helping somebody. That's cool. But yeah, that's really how we keep Jamison's memory alive. So that happened. And my healing really came by focusing on something. I'm very much planner. So I said, okay, I plan to get pregnant again. That was the plan. Wrote that down, claimed it. So I joined a group called TTA or TTC after stillbirth. So trying to conceive after stillbirth. And let me tell you, there's some zany methods to getting pregnant. Like they will tell you so many different things, but they're helpful. And these women had been through what I had been through. So it was nice to be able to talk to them and, kind of understand the desperation that I felt to get pregnant again. So I did all the things they told me to do. The doctor told me, he said, well, wait to get pregnant. Your body's got to heal. So I waited about 2 months and then my body gave me another baby. And Maverick was a great pregnancy, pretty unremarkable there, except for in the end, his heart rate kept dropping. And I said, get him out. I don't care what happens. Get him out. We're not going to wait. Get him out because I'm not going to lose another baby. We don't know why Jameson passed away. There was never any diagnosis. I had them do every test available on me, on him, everybody. So they said, well, probably a cord accident. Okay, I guess so. I don't know. So we'll roll with that. But I was not prepared to lose another baby. So Maverick was born by emergency C-section, not my natural birth ideal and not in the birth center, but I have my little guy and yeah, he's here. He's very much a part of my healing.
Yes. So how was your pregnancy after loss? You mentioned that it was uneventful, and you seem like you like to stay busy. So how did Carrie and Maverick help you grieve and heal from Jameson?
So, of course, pregnancy after loss is like the scariest thing ever. Of course. What helped me was to talk to people that understood that. Because I think so many times people are so uncomfortable with grief and so uncomfortable with anything that's like not happy, positive, smiley, tulips and sunshine that they say things in passing. They're like, well, this one's going to be okay. And I'm like, well, how do you know that? The first one should have been okay. Or they'll say, you just have to put your trust in God. I'm like, yeah, I did that last time. And this is how that ended up. Not that I don't trust God, but I need a little bit more than that. So it helped to find a community of people that got it, that understood. I had friends that had miscarriages. No one with a stillbirth. Well, no, I did have friends that had a stillbirth. And they were wonderful to talk to because they didn't say those trite, phrases. They didn't say, all in God's time. It's in God's hands. God is cool and everything. And that's something I'm going to touch on too. My relationship with God, he's awesome. But when you have had a baby taken from you for no good reason, you question things. So I didn't necessarily need to hear at the time this was God's plan because, I'm thinking, well, he's got bad plans. So it helped me to be with women that didn't just, didn't just spout off any, hackneyed, like whatever, just, whatever came to mind, like those little one-liners just to make themselves feel better, just to end conversation. It helped me to be able to really talk to people like, I have a friend, Heather, I've got Tiffany, and, just so many different people, my friend Kathleen, she was wonderful. Just being able to call all these women and say, this is how I'm feeling. Help me. Because they had losses. They said, you're going to be okay. What happened to you sucked. It was horrible. And I needed that acknowledgement. Needed somebody to say that was not good. That was the opposite of good. That was, very, very, very bad. And to recognize that. So that helped me a lot. I stay very busy. I started working again because with Jameson, I did stop working. I said, well, I'm going to stay home for a bit. So I stopped working. I was at a job that I sincerely hated. So that was fine for me to stop working. And then, when I lost him, I said, okay, I need to get my mind on something. So I took my first job as an event planner. I'd always done it personally. And here I was doing it professionally. So new job in a whole new field, really kept me going. And that gave me a purpose. And I carried a Doppler with me everywhere. I, had my little lavender scented Doppler jelly and I had my Doppler and I was ready at any minute to listen to the baby. If I didn't feel him, I would, drink a little coffee. They say he shouldn't drink coffee, but I just needed him to just move. And he liked coffee. He also really enjoyed Prince. I love Prince. Apparently he did too. So, the combination of coffee and Prince, he got moving. So he would do things to let me know, hey, I'm all right, Mom. So that was great. Unremarkable pregnancy all the way to the end. I had gallbladder issues that landed me in the hospital. So that was not fun. And they said, okay, we need to go ahead and get the baby. And then we're going to take out your gallbladder too. So I was in the hospital for like a week, just had a baby. And they turned around. They said, okay, we're going to do another surgery. So that was that. But yeah, all that to say, I'm here and I'm thriving. And it's because of Maverick. Like I look at him every day. I'm like, you don't know what you mean to me, kid. Like you are everything. And it's a lot to, put on a baby, but he really, truly is everything.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Everything that you just said as far as your pregnancy after loss. And I think that a lot of women who are listening, who have gone through that journey, who are in that trying to conceive period, will be able to relate as they go through their pregnancy after their loss or they're just battling infertility. October is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. Join us for our Healing and Prayer Summit. This summit is taking place online every Tuesday during the month of October. To register, go to ericaandmcafee.com/summit to get the replays of every video. We will be discussing healing after loss. We will also be discussing therapy after loss, trying again, parenthood, self-care, and advocacy after loss. You do not want to miss these videos with these dynamic speakers. Go to ericaandmcafee.com/summit, and every Tuesday a video will be posted. It's free. Join us at our Healing and Prayer Summit every Tuesday in October. So share with us, and you also did mention and talk a little bit about your relationship with God. Share with us about your relationship with your spouse and tell us about how you all grieve differently and grieve together and got to a place where, you were faced with this new journey with carrying, having this new baby, and how did he and you all work together as a couple?
Sure. So immediately after I went to therapy, I found a therapist. She was close by. I will say she kept me alive because look, I wanted to go. I sincerely did not want to be on this earth any longer. My husband was very afraid that he was going to come home one day and find me gone. And that's a very dark feeling because I love my husband so much. I mean, I know everybody says they love their husband, they love their spouse. I really do love my husband. He is great. He's always been supportive. If I was ever like, well, I can't do whatever, he's like, yes, you can, and he's very analytical. So, he's ticking off like reasons why I can, and they all make sense because he's analyzed this. So he is amazing that way. But given that he does grieve differently, I was very emotional, of course, hormones and everything, very, very emotional. I'm in therapy crying, and, he cried too. I was glad that he did show that emotion, but, I let him know like it's okay to cry. So, he was comfortable doing that. Whereas I'm very extroverted. So I went, and I found my village, so to speak. I found my tribe, found my people, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get some healing. I don't think he ever found anybody to connect with. And I still worry about that. Like, I'm still trying to get him to go out and do things. Like, I know Star Legacy Foundation, they have different events, and I definitely want to hook up with them. We're going to something in June, and I'm hoping he can hook up with some other dads and, just talk about this stuff, because as a woman, my perspective is way different. As the person who carried the baby, my perspective is way different. So I just want him to be able to talk to somebody. And I asked him, I said, do you want to go to a therapist on your own? I don't know if he does. Now, I myself have found another therapist. The therapist that I initially went to, well, we went together. I should say that we went together. So I was like a week and a half out of having Jameson. I said, I need to get in somebody's chair quick. So I'm talking to her, and she's basically like, you're fine. You don't really need therapy. What? Like, of course I need therapy. Like, my child just died. Like, of course I need therapy. She was like, you're a strong Black woman. She's an old Jewish white woman. So I was like, okay, this is not the therapist for me. So I did not go to her anymore. I went to her maybe like 3 times. So I didn't go to her anymore. Just stop that cold turkey. Fine. And she was just like, well, you're fine anyway. So it is only now, and I have my first session on the 28th. I have found a new therapist. This therapist, does specialize in grief. She's a Black woman. And I feel like she'll get it more. Like, don't expect me to be strong all the time. I can't do that. So I think that's going to be kind of the crux of why I'm there. And then I can be vulnerable. I can be weak, so to speak. I can open up and show her like these parts of myself that are not so strong. And we can talk about how to rebuild. So yeah, I mean, with my husband, I want him to talk to someone. He doesn't seem to be not okay. But then again, he's a very kind of quiet guy. So I don't know, and we're great. We, have been there for each other. We're doing wonderful. But I just want to know that he's going to be the best him that he can be. So I kind of do want him to talk to somebody.
Yes, I agree. And hopefully you can convince him with how you have been changing and progressing in your own personal therapy journey for him to go back to therapy. Because something that my husband and I have done now is we go to therapy separately. We started out going to therapy together, but him and the therapist that we were going to as a couple developed a strong bond. So he ended up just continuing to go to him.
Oh, so, okay. Hey, that works.
That worked out. Yeah, that works out in our favor. So he just continues to go to him. And, since then I have gone through a few therapists as well. Just because, and I think that this is a great point to make for everyone on the podcast, is that as you transition to the different stages in your grief journey, or in just the different stages as a wife, as a new mom, as you're transitioning from one career to the next, if you don't feel like the therapist there is giving you what you need to go find someone else and interview another therapist.
Exactly.
And I think that's where, and it's sometimes, there's a lapse in time, and I know you want to have someone to talk to, but find your tribe, join the Sisters in Loss community and just, post stuff there until you get back into that therapy chair where you can actually have someone that you can be vulnerable with. But I think that's a great point to make as far as finding someone that you can talk to that relates to you, that can be empathetic to you, that understands your struggles as a Black woman. Another thing to note is that not everybody has to have a Black woman therapist. You can find other people, but I think just having a Black woman or someone that can relate to you does make a difference in what you're sharing. So thank you for pointing to that. And I think that that's a great point to make.
Thank you.
So what other, you mentioned the TTC group, After Stillbirth group on Facebook. What other groups or resources or books that you have used to help you on your healing journey?
Sure. So I read a book. It's called It's Okay to Laugh, Crying is Cool Too by Nora McInerney Permort. Found this book. I listened to it on like audiobooks. So it's actually her speaking. And basically this woman had a lot of loss. Oh my goodness, like so much loss. She had a miscarriage, and her husband had brain cancer and he died. Then her father died, really shortly after. Like it just a lot of loss. And she did have a child with her husband. So basically all these people dying around her, she's still got to be a mom. And it's just like, wow. And she said, it's okay to laugh. I love to laugh. I wanted to get back to laughing. I just wanted to get back to being me. I wanted to get back to feeling like Tierra, the Tierra that can sit down with a table of complete strangers and walk away with some girlfriends. Like, we're going to go have drinks at this bar, and then we're going to go to dinner, and we're going to all exchange numbers, and we're going to get together for brunch. That's the Tierra that I wanted to get back to. And this book let me know you will get back to yourself. You're never going to be completely the same. And that's okay. But, where you're not completely the same, like you can use that part that's different to help others, to engage others. So that book was really wonderful. Like I said, the Facebook group. Now that Facebook group, I will say, as with anything, when something no longer serves you, you can, back away. I felt like this group it was a non-Black group. And I'm not saying everything is about race, but I think when we're talking about grief and different ways that we deal with it in the culture and the religiosity of it, and, things like that, you do have to consider that. And just some things that were going on in the group. And I said, you know what? This might not be for me, got the tips that I needed. I'm going to go ahead and creep on out now. I'm good. And that is when I found Sisters in Loss, because I was so frustrated with that other group. And I said, no, that's not really where I need to be anymore. I need to be with my folks. So that's right when I found your group, and I've been there for a little bit. I haven't come right out and said too much. I think we were talking about anger on one post, but it helped to be able to release that. I'm able to say I'm angry. And to have people touch and agree, even virtually, is huge. So I think, that book, and then finding, my tribe, my village, my people, my folks, that's been wonderful.
Yes, it has. And we were talking, we're recording this in May, and we were just coming off the day after the conference in Washington, D.C. So we were sharing our experiences with the conference before we started recording the podcast. And it is a beautiful feeling to be in the room with a bunch of dope Black women who are all moms, who understand your pain. And I just love that feeling of being able to experience that in person. And I hope that the women who are listening, if you are in our Facebook group, you get that same feeling in our Facebook group. And hopefully in person next year when we have our Sisters in Loss conference. But yes, we shared before we started that the energy that we have, how Black women show up, we show up and we show out, girl.
Yes. Yes. Those heels that women had on. I mean, you could tell women had planned for this. This wasn't just I think I'll go. It was like, look, I got my outfit. I got my hair done. These nails are popping, everything. I mean, we show up, show out, and show everybody how to do it.
Exactly. And I think that's the reason why Sisters in Loss exists, why the conference and that platform will continue to exist, because we need to have a community to know that we are dope, we're powerful, and we can still heal while we're helping other people by sharing our stories. So thank you for sharing all of that. So lastly, what encouraging words can you leave with the women who are on the podcast who've experienced a stillbirth or an infant loss as they continue to move forward in their grief, in their healing journey?
So something that means a lot to me is the Sankofa bird. I have one in my house. Like it's a symbol. It's a bird that his feet are forward and he's turned around. Maybe it's a she because he's got the egg. So The bird has an egg on its back. And the Sankofa bird reminds us that we have to continue to move forward as we remember the past. And at the same time, we plant a seed for the future generations that come after us. So I take that bird to mean, and I look at it every single day, and I try to practice this every single day to say, what happened to me happened. That's a thing. I can't erase that. I don't want to pretend it didn't happen. Every day, every second of the day, I think about it. But here's where I can turn that pain into purpose, where I take this and I help to educate other women. I help them, by saying, like, I'm in plenty of groups and things where, there are pregnant moms and everything. And they're like, something doesn't feel right. I'm like, go to the hospital, take yourself to the hospital. Don't wait, and I maybe a little fanatic about that, but that is something that I consider the gift that I have to give them. And I don't tell them my experience necessarily because I don't want to scare anybody, but that education and then telling Black women about doulas. I had a doula. She was amazing. So really just spreading that education, taking what I had and then making it different, making it like taking, the experience that I had and just making it tangible to somebody else, like making it where they understand, okay, well, she went through this. Here's how I can not go through this. Like, so just make that whole experience different for them so they can enjoy pregnancy, enjoy motherhood, learn to be an advocate for themselves. That's the biggest thing I'm passing along to women is how to advocate for themselves. Or if you can't advocate for yourself, if you can get a doula to advocate for you, do that. Form a pregnancy dream team. I had a Black midwife the second time. I also had a doctor on the side and, they worked together, and I had a doula. And, I just kept saying, we gonna be all right. Just kept saying it to myself. And I mean, this is when like Black Panther had come out. So we were doing the Wakanda Forever, hands across the chest thing. And we were doing that on into the delivery room. We were gonna be all right. Little Black Panther's what I call Maverick before he got here. He was gonna get here. So, I think, by telling people my experience and, highlighting how theirs can be different, I think that's the way I can honor Jameson. That's the way I can honor Maverick growing up. And that's how I can help our community and just being a face of a Black woman with a loss, but I'm still moving forward.
Yes, I love it. So where can we connect with you after this episode? You mentioned that you created an Instagram, so I know you have Instagram now.
I have Instagram. So because I like to entertain, my name on Instagram is Manners and Merlot. So MANNERSANDMERLOT. So Manners and Merlot. I would love to connect with anybody that wants to talk about, loss or wine. Loss and wine. Let's talk about it, or etiquette. Manners and Merlot is it's an etiquette and entertainment blog. And that's kind of it's my release. It's my outlet. So I need to do much more of the blog. I'm just kind of getting started, but it's my passion. It's my baby. It's what I love. So yeah, connect with me there. I'm open to talking to anybody. If you're in the DC area and you want to get something to, you want to sit down, have some coffee or whatever, let's do it. I love meeting people.
Thank you so much, Tierra, for being on the podcast and sharing your story and your light with us. It was truly a pleasure.
Thank you for having me. I mean, I do apologize again that I'm under the weather. Like I said, I turned all the way up at the mom friends. And so this is why I sound the way I do today. But look, I felt so poured into, and the best thing to do is pour back out. So here I am. And thank you for allowing me to do so.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. For show notes, go to ericaandmcafee.com/podcast. Have you joined the Sisters in Loss online community? If not, join us online at sistersinloss.mn.co. That's where you get all of the tools and the resources and freebies from each of the episodes. I can't wait to talk with you all in the online community. If not, until next time, we will see you next week.